Welcome. We're just going to do the introduction of Dwayne to get things started a touch ahead of time so that we can keep you satisfied right to 11:10, which is when the session's over. So I presume you're all here for Brandout. Good. Okay, gotcha. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Dwayne, who I've known now for, it must be 15 minutes. So they give me a little bit of a background, so I apologize if I'm not making eye contact throughout this presentation of who he is. He's been building brands, and that's really his focus, is branding and the relevance of branding to your growth and success. He's been doing it since 1995. I know he's a global traveler because we were chatting about his exposure across Canada, and it's considerable. He works with small businesses and large organizations to help them position in an often overcrowded workplace. Anybody in an overcrowded workplace? This means yes. Okay, we got one. Over the years, he's seen so many entrepreneurs struggle to stand out and succeed. Despite all their hard work, they often lose vision of who they are, what they offer, how to clearly communicate to their customers. They're either into status quo or they're fading. Unfortunately, they usually jump directly onto the marketing treadmill without having a strong understanding of their core identity and how that differentiates them. So they just go out with blah, 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 hoping to catch a fish. Dwayne believes that a strong brand is a foundation for a solid business strategy. Anybody here disagree? Well, since you all agree, why are you here? Okay, you're going to share your perspectives with him. 3 generations of entrepreneurial heritage have given Dwayne valuable insight into what it takes to win in the marketplace. From agriculture to retail, his roots have influenced his own story, and he's learned that your brand counts at the core of what you are. It's what your customers experience first and what they remember last. That was the phrase in here that really caught me. What your customers remember first and what they remember last. What they experience first, what they remember last. Do you write that down? Through his Core 3 framework, in other words, he has a model. He's going to share with you his model. And a straightforward approach, Dwayne helps entrepreneurs clarify who they are, tell their story, and build their brand. This gives them confidence and positions them for success. He's passionate about helping you grow your business and becoming the best that you can be. Ladies and gentlemen, Dwayne. Well written.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to use this because I like to move around. If anybody knows me, I've got nervous feet, so I like to move. So I hope that's okay with you. So yeah, it's just a great pleasure to be here. I love this expo. I am a fan of it, a believer in it, and Brenda puts in so much hard work, and I just really appreciate what she does to support the business community here in Central Alberta. So when you see her, give her a high five, and just show her how much you appreciate this day. As we kind of kick off Small Business Week here, a show of hands, who is a small business owner here? Great. And so who's got like 5 employees or more? Awesome. So most of you are probably solopreneurs, right? Exactly. So that's exciting. Very proud to be part of your community. I've been a part of the Central Alberta business community for over 22 years now, and I can't think of a better place to grow business. Yeah, we've had a little kick in the shins here these last few years, right? How many of you kind of felt a little kicked in the shins the last few years? Only me? Okay, I need a new business, so I'll go find a business coach to tell me what I'm doing wrong. But it's been a little bit of a tough go here. But you're entrepreneurs, and that means we don't listen to the economics. We keep pressing forward, and that's why you're here today, to learn a little bit, to press forward, and to grow your business. And so we're excited about that. I get to brag a little bit. I have my daughter Megan here. She is now the 4th generation entrepreneur in our family, in the Holland family, and she's here, moved back, and we're working together to build her business in photography. So if you go to megannicolephotography.ca, I'm not supposed to say that, but anyways, I'd love you to support her. But yeah, to help her grow, and that's really important, is the next generation of entrepreneurs. It's really important. I'm involved with the Junior Achievement here in Central Alberta, and we just launched Company Program, which is teaching students in Central Alberta how to become an entrepreneur and to grow their businesses. And that kicked off at the Donald School of Business this week. They're partnering with Junior Achievement and the Chamber of Commerce, and really excited to be a part of that. So For the past 2 decades, I've been helping businesses discover, create, and build their brands with the goal of helping entrepreneurs like yourself to become the best and to grow your business. And it's been a very rewarding journey. I just love it. Today I was in the mentor section and just meeting with some entrepreneurs and some local business folks, and I just love it. That's my passion. That's my purpose, is to help folks like yourself to excel in what you love to do. And so that's why I'm here today. And I'm going to start my timer because otherwise I'll be way off the course here. So we got a short time today. It's going to be like drinking with a fire hose. You're going to get wet. Hopefully you get some down and are refreshed. I'm going to try to encourage you to look deeper at your own brands, whether it's your own business or you're working for another organization, to look at your brands. A lot of this you can actually apply to personal brands if you want to grow a personal brand in the business world too. And so I'm just going to give you a few tools today that will help you along with your journey. Does that sound fair? So right now, I'm only giving you 10 seconds. So you're going to stand up, and the person to your left, no, that's an old joke. Person right beside you, you're going to tell them in 10 seconds what your name is and what you do. Go. Go. Stand up. Stretch your legs. All right, time's up. Time's up. I'm going to guess that probably half of the room felt really uncomfortable doing that, or the other half didn't feel uncomfortable, and then there's a few of those who didn't feel uncomfortable actually were going on and on and on, and the other person maybe didn't even get a chance. So we're going to talk about a few things about that today, but I'm just touching on it. That's part of a pitch workshop that I do. That's part of a 3-day workshop that we do. So I'm just going to give you some little highlights, but that's something you're going to need to practice because that is one of your most powerful tools to brand yourself. It's not necessarily your social media. It's not all your advertising. It's you. You and your short pitch type of thing. And if you can get the 30-second elevator pitch down and then right down to even a 10-second pitch type of thing, you will see your network grow, and you will see your business grow as well. So today I'm here to talk about brand, and not just what we think about in Alberta here with our beef about brand, but I really want to talk about the difference between brand and branding. A lot of people will mix that up, and they think it's the exact same thing, but there's actually a difference. So brand is the essence of the person or the organization or the business. It's who they are. It's what you offer. It's your voice. It's your story. Branding is the activation of the brand message. It's your logo. It's your advertising. It's your social media. There's the difference. A lot of people say, well, I want to do some branding. That's okay, but what is your brand? Today we want to talk more about who you are and what you offer, because that's what makes you unique. So I always tell my clients that brand is like your heart, the heartbeat, and branding is like your face and your handshake. All right? Brand is the heart of who you are as an entrepreneur, and so it's at the very core of your business. And if you try to separate them and say, here's my business and here's my brand, you've got a real disconnect and you're missing out on such great opportunities. Business is brand. I want you to write that down. Business is brand. There is no difference. They're synonymous, and your brand should be the foundation for all your business decisions. And I can tell you more about that another time, but I just want you to ponder that. Building your brand is building long-term value for your business. So if you just equate brand to branding and you just think it's your logo, you're missing the boat. So I hope today we'll be able to enlighten you to a little bit different. So it is at the fabric of your DNA. This is breaking here. Real quickly, you can shout some of these out, but here's a little game I like to play, and you can do this. When you wake up in the morning, and by the time you go through your day, you're inundated with thousands of brands at least. From the time you bang your alarm clock or throw it across the room, to the time you have your Wheaties or go to Tim Hortons or Starbucks, check your social media, watch TV, blah, blah, blah. You're inundated. So real quickly, what's one top of mind brand that comes when I say car? Shout it out. Okay, pop. Toothpaste. Beer. There's troubled monk, exactly. So that's just kind of fun, and you start thinking about that. So over this next few weeks, I want you to start thinking about what brands are in your shelf, at home type of thing, what brands you gravitate towards, or what brands you experience and are top of mind, okay? So in the opposite, here are some brands, and then what do you think when we say some of these things? So we say John Deere, what might you say? Okay, what about Kraft? Mac and cheese, right. Donald Trump. No, let's not even do that one. Not even get into the time today. Troubled monk. What did that mean? Yeah. Okay, and I want you to start thinking deeper, though, about brands, and more so, not just about what product they're selling. What does it mean to you? John Deere, to a lot of farmers, means value, and even more than value, it means heritage and legacy. They did a focus group with a bunch of farmers. And why did they pay more money for John Deere when they can buy probably a New Holland? I think that's a good competition. But John Deere meant legacy to them, something they can pass on to people, right? So it's just fun. My colleague from the UK, Lindsay Boyd, she has a book called Brand Famous, and she writes about brand being in one of these three stages. So a lot of you, how many are just starting a business for the first time or just recently? Yeah, exactly. So you're probably in the build stage. You're building your brand right now. It's something, you have a new idea, or you're going into a new marketplace and you need to be positioned well. Some of us have had brands for a while. Our business has been going. We're seeing some moderate success, but we might have hit a wall a little bit, and all of a sudden the growth has stopped. So now we could be in a renovate stage. So a few years back, I renovated my brand and took it to the next level. My brand, my core, my DNA didn't change, but it evolved my brand to the next level, okay? And now it has taken it from dormant to the next level, and I saw a lot of success from that. So when Perry's talking about I have the opportunities to go different places across the country, that's because I renovated my brand, okay? And then some of us are in the refresh. We actually have a lot of success. Business is just flying. It's going really well, but we might have launched a new product, or we want to get a new message out there. So it's time to refresh a few things, maybe specifically just for that target market. I was talking with someone today who has a few different audiences. Maybe they're just refreshing that area. It's not changing your brand, all right? So what do you want to be known for? That is the most important thing when you're thinking about your brand. It can't just be about you. It has to be about your target audience. We're in this economy of what's in it for me, and we're all part of that, right? And this raises the brand stakes for all businesses. You need to stand out and bring a unique value offering to the market. As Jess was saying earlier, you need to create experience and build community. That is really important, a big cog in the wheel of brand. And one thing that I like to tell my clients or at the workshops that I teach at is you need to make a difference. If you're in business just for money, you cannot sustain that long term. Yes, money is important because that turns the wheels. But again, if that's what gets you out of bed in the morning, eventually you won't want to get out of bed. You have to be in it to make a difference in the world. I tell my clients you need to be both profitable and purposeful. You need to find your purpose of why your business exists, and that should get you out of bed in the morning. The profit should be the gravy. That's the reward for going out and doing what your purpose, what your calling is, all right? So I don't care if you're selling grapple grommets, you're sweeping floors, or you're a social media person type of thing. You have to have a purpose of why you do what you do. And that will really be the core and the center of your brand. So how do you brand out? How do you brand out in an overcrowded marketplace? So I'm going to give you a few tips. You're going to write down. I'm not the typical teacher who puts the notes up on the board, so I'm not going to give you that much. One of the number one things is you have to discover what your hidden brand asset is. And that's a full day in itself, or even a journey beyond that. But you have to understand, again, who you are, what your passion is, what your purpose is. You might have heard of Simon Sinek. How many have heard of Simon Sinek and his why? Exactly. Nothing new and revolutionary. He just did a really good job at actually reframing that and branding it and doing a good job to communicate that message out there. But it's about your purpose. Your why is at the center of who you are, right? Your how and your what you do in your business goes from that. It derives from that. It's birthed out of that. And too many people jump into the how and the what and they forget the why, or they never even considered the why. They just think about the money. And your brand is all encompassing. It captures all those things. So it's about what is unique about your business. What is unique about you as a solopreneur? What is unique about your product or your services? Is it one of a kind? Do you have innovation in what you're offering? Is it state of the art? Are you first to market? Those are some of the things you want to hone in on to make sure that you're bragging about that and telling your story. One place to kind of start when you're looking at discovering your hidden brand asset, look at what you're passionate about. So you've probably started a business because you're passionate about something, or you had an opportunity. And then you want to look at the people that you're trying to reach and the problems that they might have. And you're there to solve their problems. It's not about you, it's about them. If you're a Star Wars fan, I use this analogy. Your clients, your customers are Luke Skywalker and you are Yoda. Doesn't mean you have to be that short and green. I can be Yoda. I'm kind of like Chewbacca more, but you want to be the guide. You want to be the guru who takes them along their journey. And then what are the product and ideas that you have? So you're blending your passion, the people's problems, some ideas, and something that you're probably proficient at. I'm not going to open a restaurant because I can't cook, right? I go to restaurants and I pay other people to cook for me. So I'm not going to open a restaurant. So think about where you're proficient. So that's a place to start to discover your hidden brand assets. Love this quote. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and then go and do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So if you're just doing something for the sake of it and you're not alive, then you're not going to attract people. The world needs you to be alive with what you have. It needs to see your passion, and people will be drawn to that. Know your audience. That's the next key point. Know your audience. And Jess was talking about, so I've stolen his notes and I'm just changing them up a bit. But he was talking a little bit about the audience, their customers as well too. And it's just not saying, yes, I target families in central Alberta. Not good enough. What families? What age group? What demographics? What economics are they in? What is their family about? If you think your target audience is millennials, what age, what gender are they? What coffee do they drink? What magazines do they read? Wrong question, because they don't read magazines. What social media platforms are they on? Know what they do. Know the brands that they love. The more detailed you know your audience, the more you can speak their language. Otherwise, if you just paint your audience with the same brush type of thing, you're going to miss the mark. You might fluke, you might luck out because all of a sudden you have the hottest product that just happened to be on the market. But when the next hottest product comes onto the market, they will just jump and leave you in the dust, right? What's happening to Apple right now? They're losing touch, and I'm an Apple fan. They're losing touch with their audience. I'm upset with them right now. They're missing the mark, and the Samsungs and so forth out there are starting to speak a different language, right? That's attracting a new market, right? They've lost the heartbeat of what Steve Jobs brought to it. So you want to develop your identity and your voice. That's the next thing you want to do. Time here. How does your audience know it's you? So whether it's visually, once you get into the branding side of things and you're communicating, how do they know? Is your brand consistent from your logo to your ads, to your social media platforms, to your billboards or whatever you use, to the customer experience when they walk through the door? Do they recognize you? Do they recognize you visually, and do they recognize your voice? Do they understand what you're saying? Are you speaking their language? Or are you just basically, do you have the curse of knowledge? Does anybody know what the curse of knowledge is? No? So Donald Miller talks about the curse of knowledge in StoryBrand, and he talks about that we have, if we're experts in what we do, we have knowledge of about 10, obviously. I sure hope most of us have a 10 in what we're selling, right? And our customers might have a 1 or a 2 knowledge of that. And we always think we have to bring them all the way over to 10 for them to purchase. But we don't. We just have to move them up 1 or 2 bars. So if they're at a 1, get them to a 2. If they're at a 2, get them to a 3. You have to give them enough knowledge so they understand and appreciate that you're the expert and they can trust in you for the rest of the knowledge, just to motivate them enough to say, that's what I need. So that's really important. But so are we speaking their language? And are we clear? I was speaking to some entrepreneurs earlier. Clarity is really important. People are drawn to clarity. They're repulsed or pushed away by confusion. So if your message is all over the map and it's not very clear, you're not going to catch any fish, right? It's like casting vision to your own team or anybody else. If you're casting foggy vision, people can't find you. So your message has to be super clear. And one of the most important things I feel in brand is be authentic. Right? We live in a day and an age where everybody wears masks, right? And unfortunately, advertising can become such a mask, and we become fake and we hide behind that. Or even social media sometimes can be fake, right? We're supposed to be authentic, and some of it can be really fake, but your brand, your voice has to be super authentic. So it's got to be clear, it's got to be authentic. That's what people are attracted to, authenticity, right? True authenticity. Sometimes you have to temper that. Mr. Trump doesn't know how to temper his authenticity. He is what he is. You get what you get with him type of thing, but he doesn't know how to temper that. So the same is with social media. You can be yourself, but you have to also be professional as a business, right? So if you're a little bit rough around the edges, and maybe that's your audience, you can still be yourself, but in social media, you don't have to be dropping a bunch of F-bombs, right? That doesn't attract anybody. Might make your buddies laugh or whatever like that, but does not attract your target audience, right? So you want to temper your authenticity a little bit as well too, right? But if you be true to yourself and be true to your brand, the rest will take care of itself, guaranteed. So you also want to be consistent in all your media. So whatever you're putting out there for your communications, be consistent, because again, it's that clarity thing. If you're saying one thing over here and your social media is over there, so social media gets maybe a little too personal and you're posting a lot of cat pictures along with all your business acumen and stuff like that, there's confusion there, right? So on social media is great. I only keep my Facebook for my personal side. That's my own preference. And my Twitter that I use a lot more, and LinkedIn is my business side. And I don't post personal stuff for the most part on those. Once in a while enough so people know that I'm human. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, just that's not my brand, right? So those who do, good for them, but that's not mine. So when I'm on social media and I have followings because of what I talk about, then my expectation is that I should, or the expectation from my audience should be the same thing, that they're expecting me to give them some good business tips, in a personable way. That's my brand as well too. It's not stuffy, right? And create your brand story. So I was speaking with someone earlier at the table, is if you do not do a good job at creating a clear brand story of your own, other people will create it for you. Okay? So there's two camps out there. Some people say you can create and develop your brand, and some say, no, actually your brand is developed by your community. Yes to both, but I lean more to it starts with you first, because nobody can create who you are inside, right? But you have to do a good job at making sure that message gets out there and that it's clear, right? And so otherwise, people will just start either not making up things, but their perception might be not clear. And before you know it, there's so many brand stories about your business out there that people don't really know what you offer, all right? And then what we talked about earlier, what I got you to stand up, develop your pitch. So here's 4 key things that you want to have in your pitch. And depending on if you have longer time, you can tell more of your story, or if you've got 10 seconds, you tell less of it, the most pertinent thing. You always want to have some essence of what your purpose is, why you even care, all right? You want to make sure you address your customer's problem, right? What are you there to solve, and your solution in a snapshot. But again, don't just start talking about all your solutions. It's mostly about their problem and that you have a solution, right? And hit the most important piece to it. And then how are they going to feel at the end? You know, or when you're talking to someone and they're saying, well, what are you in business for? You're telling them and you're saying, yeah, and this gives people success in their business. That's all it has to be. And they're like, wow, that's awesome. You're clear, you're confident, you know your audience. So there's 4 pieces you can take home today and work on your elevator pitch, as a lot of people call it. Another one that's really, really important, and I've learned the value of this even more so over the last few years. I knew that was going to happen. When I first started business, I understood, 1995 is when I first started. I had hair back then, so I love 95. But what I did is I made sure I was in the chamber and all kinds of organizations, and I got out there and I spent a lot of time networking, marketing, and all that kind of stuff. What happens with a lot of businesses as we start to see success, sometimes we forget about that because all of a sudden the work or the clients are coming through the door, and maybe there's some money there and it's really nice type of thing. And what it took almost 20 some years later for this economy to hit, to kick me in the shins where I was feeling a little too comfortable with myself, to realize, I've had my head in the sand for so long, I was coasting, and now I had to play catch up again. And that's when I looked to renovate my brand, right? And that's when I looked at, I have to rebuild a network that actually got so antiquated. I was looking at my Rolodex, right? Literally, actually moved offices the other day and we found our old Rolodex. It was kind of cool. But I had to look, and most of my network had moved on. They're gone. And I have to build a new network. And the new network that I'm building with is such a different demographic than when I first started. So I had to reinvent myself to see how I connect with those people. So you got to build a network. You have to collaborate or even co-brand. I won't get into that, but co-brand with other people. You cannot do it on your own. So as entrepreneurs, sometimes we can do it. We can be the head chief, cook, and bottle washer, and we don't need anybody. Well, that's a lie. You can't do life in a vacuum. You need community, you need family. So in a business, it's the exact same thing. You need a business family, you need a business community, right? And you need to network, you need to collaborate. A lot of the work that I do, I'm not smart enough to actually do. I bring along people who are smarter than me to help me do that for my clients, right? So I get to do a lot of talking, they get to do a lot of the thinking because they're a lot smarter than me. So build a team around yourself. It doesn't have to be on staff, but it has to be part of your team. Then be relentless to promote your brand. Be relentless to promote your brand. If you think you can just sit back, I got my logo and business card and signage out there now, a little bit of business is coming in, now I can just coast. Again, that's the wrong thing. You constantly have to be working on your brand and your branding on a regular basis. Every week you're doing something, every month you're looking at it, every quarter you're reviewing it, and every year you're having an overall look at where you're at, and you have to keep working on it. Do not sit back and rest on your past success. And I'm speaking out of experience here. So anybody who's heard me talk before, I speak from what I am either learning at the moment or have skinned my knees on and want to share. So maybe if you're a new entrepreneur, that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And then one of the last things that I just want to make sure you think about, and this I kind of covered a bit, but is revisit your brand, revisit your strategy, improve it, and keep it moving forward. So it's kind of like a garden. Okay, your brand is like a garden, and you have to do some pruning. And as entrepreneurs, sometimes we can make mistakes. I've made a ton of mistakes. Every mistake that I've made, though, has gotten me to the thing because you've been there, right? And so pruning, you have to prune some things. Maybe it's poor staff choices because that's part of your brand. Maybe it's the wrong location, and then you have to revisit that, right? You guys know the age-old story of Subway. They almost went out of business with their first location. And they said, one more time, we have to revisit and stuff. And they got a new location, and then they became halfway successful, right? You know, Subway. So just think about your gardening. You prune it, you water it, you grow it, you fertilize it, right? You visit it, you enjoy it, the whole bit. So treat your brand like a garden. As your business grows, your brand will evolve. It's organic. But the heartbeat of it doesn't change. But you may come to a stage where you need to renovate it. Sometimes it needs to be refreshed. And just keep working on it and making sure you're getting out there with clarity and with confidence to tell the world. So I hope you can put these principles into practice to help you grow your business to the next level. I hope you can brand out and really reap some rewards of your efforts into this over this next couple of years as we're going to start getting back into an Alberta economy that we're used to. But when you work really hard on your brand and keep it consistent and growing, when the times hit, like we've had these past 2 years, and you start to see a little slip in the economy, you will be at the top. And the ones who haven't put the effort into that, they will fall off or they will struggle, and you'll keep going, right? You might not be getting rich at that time, but you'll feed your family, and that's really what's most important, right? So, but if you don't put those efforts in now, when those times come, you're going to really be behind. So I hope, all the best success for you. I hope that today is a day that maybe for some of you actually just launches you to a new journey. It's really exciting. Almost 25 years ago now, basically, I was in a similar conference, and with heavyweights like Jack Donald from Fast Gas and guys like that. I'm no Jack Donald or anything like that, but those guys were there to inspire me and encourage me. And I basically started from there to say, where's my business going to next? To right now, we're starting a new business that we're going to launch here at the end of this month with some new partners, and we're really excited about where that's going to go. And it is really geared at serving the entrepreneurs of Canada. So we're really looking forward to that. So there is a drop box up here. If you want to put your business card in there, you can win. I'll draw that out by the end of today, type of thing, to have a 1-hour brand coaching session with me. I'd just love to sit down with someone and help them launch to the next level. There's some cards here with some of those questions that I always encourage my clients to ask themselves. So there's 10 questions, and that's kind of a start to your own brand strategy. So you can feel free to pick those up if you want, type of thing. I'm on Twitter. My email's on there. If you just got a question, just ask me a question. I'd love to just kind of give you some quick advice from what I know. There's other people in this community that know a lot about this as well too, but I'll do my part to help you out there. But I thank you for your time. And does anybody have any questions right now? Go ahead.
What if you're, I'm working with a group right now, and they have sort of a negative connotation to their branding. They don't actually have a brand, say, but I'm trying to get that turned around. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to do that. It's got ages into it that are drawing away the group that I'm trying to track, 50 plus.
Okay. Yeah, well, they have a brand. It's just maybe in a negative deficit right now, right? So they have to go back to the basics. They have to walk through these questions and really say, who am I? Who are we? Why are we even here? It's time to revisit that because we've forgotten. They maybe had it at one time, they just forgot. So it's time to just bring some clarity, a little soul searching. I know that sounds airy-fairy, but that's the truth. We're all in life about that, and we have to apply the same kind of principles to our businesses. So they have to revisit that and go, wow, we're way off track. We just slowly missed a little bit, and now we're way off track. So it's time to revisit right back to the basics. What's our vision? What's our mission? What's our core values? Because those might need to change or be tweaked as well too. and then start building a strategy from there. There's no magic bullet, but hard work by going back and do a little navel gazing. Yeah. Any other questions?
I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
With the ease we now have in social marketing, and I think you touched on this with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and you name it, it appears to me that there are many organizations out there just pumping the market with content without any regard to brand. Has the new communication systems eroded the concept of brand, or is it more or less important today?
I think brand's more important today because there's so much out there, right? There's so much noise out there, and it's overflooded. Anybody feel overwhelmed sometimes from everything you see? And we're told we have to be on every social media platform, so we're absorbing it all. And sometimes I'd feel I can't even get my own work done, and then I feel stressed. I think it's really important for us as an audience to filter what we think we need, and for a business, for your brand, find the platforms, whether it's social media or some traditional media, that work best for your brand or for your audience. If you start with your audience, then you will be able to narrow your focus. You cannot do it all because you won't do it well. Find what you can do and do it super well, and then you can add more to it. So yeah, it's inundated with stuff. You know what? It's up to everybody's perspective of what's on social media and the internet for content. Is it value? There's a lot of nonsense out there. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but you have to be able to filter it. So if you can speak clearly to your audience, they'll be attracted to that. They'll be able to filter you in and be able to, be attracted to what you have, and maybe get rid of the nonsense or the clutter that's out there.
There's a question.
So with the social media, what is your experience with the new hashtags and using hashtags for the brand?
Okay. Well, I'm a social media newbie, right? That's no surprise to a lot of people who know me and stuff like that. I think hashtags, yeah, again, they can just be used, it's just jargon sometimes too. But if, from a business perspective, if you can start using consistently certain hashtags that are connected to your core purpose and what your message is supposed to be, you keep using those, that's the consistency, right? Because if you post, if the hashtag's different or doesn't connect type of thing, it's just wasted space and doesn't help anything. But keep pushing your message through, I think, is really important. To talk to a social media expert, maybe Brendan them later, that's a good question for them with the LinkedIn group, asking them, what's your thoughts on that? I can't say much more than that, but consistency and that it connects to your brand.
Does the brand change? I mean, many of us have multiple markets, whether they be geographic or age-based or needs-based, that we may have an array of divisions serving various products. Brand seems to me to be a single entity, but does the brand change based on what markets you're serving, if you've got multiple markets? No,
brand doesn't change. That's the whole point. But your communication, your messages, you might have different messaging for different audiences or different regions that might change a little bit. You look at McDonald's, right? McDonald's brand doesn't change, but they might be offering a new product in a market that we don't receive, right? There might be a group of different ethnicity that they attract for their new product type of thing that might not happen here in Red Deer, Alberta, right? But it's the communication that needs to be sculpted and shaped uniquely for your audience with your core brand message always.
Can you recommend a book or a website where we can go and find out how to use the social media to help build your brand?
Oh,
I'm like you, I'm almost.
how many do you want to look at? There's a million out there, right?
I'm just wondering if there's one maybe that you use that you thought might be.
No, I surround myself with people who are way smarter. So one of my partners is a social media guru, so I really let him direct that kind of stuff. I follow different people for sure, right? Lindsay Boyd, Liz Goodgold. I follow different people that I'm interested in what they speak about and kind of watch how they use social media. But boy, I would just be spun silly if I tried to read everybody's blogs about what's the best way to do social media, and for $39.95, you can find out. Like, there's just a plethora of them out there, right?
I'll try to avoid that.
Yeah, I know. I wish. But you know what? If you start going to like social media breakfast, which is next Thursday and it's sold out already, but you start going to that, that crew puts on a great event every month type of thing, and you can start learning. That's where I'm learning. I'm learning from the millennials. That's who I hang out with. Any other questions? Yes?
Just a quick one. You had mentioned an author of a book, somebody from UK earlier.
Yeah, Lindsay Boyd, brand famous. So she's my colleague, and we're working on bringing her workshops to Canada here in the new year type of thing. So that'll be an exciting.
Is there a particular book that she has out that
Called Brand Famous.
brand famous?
Yeah.
Some more.
One more question, then we probably.
You mentioned a little bit about how you kind of have to differentiate your own brand versus your business brand. Mostly talking about social media, but besides social media, how do you go about developing your own personal brand in comparison to your business brand?
Okay, public speaking, going to networking events, just being yourself, meeting people, right? You can't hide. You have to get out there. Excuse me. Another one is working on your Google fame. Again, that's a whole workshop in itself, but building your Google fame. So the first thing, when people Google your name, what comes up? So it's actually funny. I used to have a slide on that, and you pull it up, and then you do the image search on Google, and actually show up at the top. And a lot of other people, some holding their jail placards in front of them, also show up. So I want to keep working so that stuff goes to the bottom a little bit more. But yeah, that's one of the ways as well too. Yeah, lots of work, podcasts, even if you're just a guest on a podcast. So I've been invited to do that. I'm going like, okay, that just gets your name out there, right? Mentoring, giving free time as well too. So with Catapult Entrepreneurs, I'm volunteering to help some of the entrepreneurs there. That helps build it as well too. Yeah, you can't knock the value of volunteerism. That's huge. That's what, besides small business in Canada, volunteering is the other backbone of our country, right?
Dwayne, I think that's coming to an end. It's now 11:10. Let him starve for more. Thank you very much. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you, everybody.
I think we'll resume here. Well, you're going to eat first, so we'll see you later on early this afternoon. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you.